All right. Well, hello, everybody. Thank y'all so much for
Hello,
tuning in to
everyone.
Marriage Off the Rocks. This is our second symposium that we are doing. Hey, this symposium is about getting people to help keep their marriages off the rocks. So today it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be phenomenal. So we're looking forward to having you guys on today. So hey, do us a favor. Make sure you share, you like, you tag, you invite. You get as many people as you can to be a part today. Let's really go after God today. And I'm telling you, you're going to be blessed today. We're going to touch as many lives as we can this morning. We got a plethora of questions that we want to ask, that we're going to ask and have answered today. So nevertheless, today is going to be great. It's going to be life-changing. It's going to be incredible. So I am Pastor Curtis C. Perryman Sr.
And I am Pastor Sophia.
Yes. So, hey, I'm telling you, today is going to be life-changing. It really is going to be incredible. So I want you guys to be a part today. Make sure you share, make sure you like, make sure you tag, make sure you invite, make sure you get as many people as you can to be a part today. And let's really go after God this morning. So, hey, our man of God, Apostle Fred L. Haas Jr. is with us this morning. Our beautiful daughter and son. You know, we got to say our daughter first.
Yes.
Yeah, our beautiful daughter.
Our beautiful daughter.
Yeah, our beautiful daughter. Natasha Perryman is on today, along with her husband.
Which is our son.
Yeah, along with her husband, Curtis. Yeah, my son, I love my son. But hey, they just recently got married on August the 20th of this year. And so, hey, we're going to show you progression in marriage today. So, hey, they are our newlyweds who are on today. And then my wife and I, Pastor Sophia and I, we've been married almost 20 years. And then our pastors have been married for well over 40 years.
Well over 40.
Well over 40 years. So we're going to show you the progression in this. And so without further ado, I want to bring on our children today and let them say hello to you this morning. Y'all say what's up to our children today. All right. So come on, Curtis, introduce yourself today. Let everybody know who you are, son.
My name is Curtis.
Oh my God. Pray for your husband, Tasha.
I think you're a little nervous today.
Tasha, go ahead and introduce yourself this morning. My son tripping.
Yeah, right. The newly.
That's good.
And we're here to, represent.
Yeah.
And so.
See, they nervous. Y'all nervous.
Y'all nervous today. Wow.
I don't know what I want us to say.
Y'all gonna be all right. But listen, I want to bring on right now to this platform our amazing pastors, Apostle Fred L. Haas Jr. today. And I appreciate him so much for being on. Y'all say good morning to my pastor, my man of God who's on today. He's amazing, man of God. So y'all say good morning to him, all right? Please do that. Dad, you looking good, Dad. You looking good, Dad. I like that shirt you got on this morning.
Yeah.
You got some pants to go with it.
I like those colors.
Thank you.
Sharp, man. You're looking sharp.
Yes.
So listen, for all of you who are on this morning, we want to say thank you so much for being on today. This symposium is really about helping you keep your marriage off the rocks. And so we're going to talk today about communication, about understanding, about blended families. We're going to talk about sexual intimacy in the relationship. I'm talking about, it's going to be a lot of things that we're going to cover this morning.
Oh, yes.
I was informed this morning, I think there was probably a miscommunication where I guess they had communicated to Dr. Oz was supposed to be preaching like 45 minutes this morning. So it's a miscommunication. But what we are going to do, as I was telling Shannon this morning, ain't nowhere in the world I can tell my dad he can't do nothing. So, but we got to at least let him speak 15 minutes on this.
No. We can teach during the questions.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is, Dad, I appreciate you, man. I really do appreciate you because I was nervous for a minute. I'll tell you, I was really nervous for a minute. So, but what we're going to do this morning is we're really just going to jump into talking about marriage. We know that you and Mom have been married for over 40 years. So we're going to talk about some of the challenges that you have faced in marriage and really how you kind of overcome them. And then we're going to get into some of those
Mom.
questions. Y'all say what's up to our
Hi,
spiritual
Mom.
parents today. Say what's up to our spiritual parents today. You know, if Pastor Linda don't say it's all good, then we just can't do it. We just have to get it together. So these are our pastors this morning. But listen, before we really start talking about this, I really want us to make sure you purchase the books that they have. So I'm going to put up this slate here today, but I want you guys to get the books that they have. Since we're really talking about marriage today, listen, they got a book here called The 52 Questions on I think it's on dating. So you need to get that. If you're a woman and you need help in being a woman, listen, get the Women on Construction.
Oh, that's amazing.
Get that book. It's going to bless your life. But there's also a toolbox book. Is that how you say it? Toolbox, a workbook. Get the workbook. It'll bless your life. But I'm biased a little bit.
I'm gonna tell you about the book really fast.
Okay.
Toolbox book.
My wife said you have to tell us about the book really fast.
Just really quick. They gotta get it. It's a great book, especially for the newlyweds.
Yeah. So I'm obedient. My wife said tell us a little bit about the book.
Okay, Woman Under Construction. All right. It is matter of fact, I got it right back here on the shelf right here. But it's a great book. It talks about the Woman Under Construction book. I wrote it actually as a result of us moving into this beautiful house and living in it for a short period of time. But it was this huge house with beautiful staircases going on both sides as you enter in. It had a barn in the back. And so, but it was all infested with dead birds and it was just horrible. And then the plumbing didn't work. So instead of it being hot, it was cold. Instead of it cold, it's been hot. And so the house was beautiful on the outside, but it needed a lot of construction on the inside. And looking at the outside, you thought that it was just this beautiful house that we had acquired. And as we began to live in it shortly, we found out all these issues that we had to deal with, plumbing issues, all type of issues, of course, as I just said. And so that's where the book came from, Woman Under Construction. And so through that book, I talk about various parts of the house. I talk about the bedroom, talk about the kitchen. I talk about various areas of the house. I talk about the construction of the house, what it means to build a wall of a house, the roof of a house. And so from there, that's where I coined the phrase, as I mentioned, Woman Under Construction. It came from that. And then I have a tube of books that goes with it. And the Holy Spirit had given me, it's just like a almost kind of like a devotional. It's a day-by-day devotional that you work through, all type of issues. It has questions, it has prayer, it has confession. Yeah. And so it's a really good book. I believe it's totally underrated. That tube. Totally. It's totally amazing. It's totally transformational.
Yes, it is.
Applied to it. So that's Woman Under Construction.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, I personally, I like all the books that you've written, that you guys have written. We did an interview on Matters of the Heart.
Oh, yeah.
Pastor Linda and I did an interview on Matters of the Heart on our podcast.
Right.
That was a great book, but I'm partial to Bruised but Not Broken.
Oh yeah, that book right
I'm really
there.
partial to Bruised but Not Broken.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Dad, but I'm partial to Bruised but Not Broken. So listen, I want to encourage you. I'm gonna put these books back up on the screen here. Here's what I need y'all to do. I need y'all to get these books. Listen, if you're a man, you need to get these Men of Discipleship books. I'm telling you, they will encourage your life, take your life to the next level. They really will. If you're dealing with condemnation, you want to purchase the Overcoming the Voices of Condemnation by my pastor, Pastor Fred L. Hodge Jr. That book will encourage your faith and starve your doubts as well. But listen, Dr. Hodge just wrote a new book called Choices. Make sure you get the book Choices. It will help you make the right choices. I believe in life that we are where we are because of the choices that we have made. So listen, get those books. I'm telling you, they'll be available. You can contact lpccglobal.com. Order those books. I believe Shannon said they're on Amazon and places like that. So get the book. And I'm telling you, they're going to encourage your faith and starve you down.
Yeah, and Dad has been doing a teaching on it for Bible study, and he's been diving deep into that book on courses, and it's been absolutely transforming.
Yeah, it's been
so thank you, Dad, for doing that. That book that you wrote is really a great book. Yeah.
But listen, let's get into it now. We covered all the preliminaries and things like that.
Yes.
But let's talk really about the importance of marriage, because what I see today is there are a lot of people who don't think marriage is important anymore. They don't think that marriage is relevant anymore. So let's talk about it, about the importance of marriage. Dad, we'll start with you and Mom.
Okay. I would say if a person says that marriage is not important, they don't have much of a relationship with God, because he's the one that thought it was important when he first created Adam, and he was tutoring and mentoring Adam in the garden, and he said, it's not good for this brother to be by himself. I'm going to put him to sleep and make a help meet suitable just for him. So God never intended for us to do life by ourselves. It could be crippling, it could be damaging, and it could hinder the dreams and the visions that God has already instilled inside of our hearts. So He created this whole human race to be interdependent, not independent of one another. And one thing that we need to understand by His creation moment is He put the necessary parts in each one of us so that when we came together, we could see the entire picture. And that's why it's important for us to understand what God has done and then cooperate with this great privilege that we call covenant, marriage covenant, partnership for life. You got anything you want to say on that?
Why marriage is important?
Yes.
Well, I believe that it could be considered the blueprint of life. The reason why is because the foundation starts with a man, of course, and we know that a man normally can't do all that he needs to do without a woman. And usually, if there's a woman involved, there's usually children involved. So I would say that the marriage component is really the blueprint of life, the foundation of life, where everything else goes from. If you're raising up a child and there is not usually a father in the household, there's usually some type of misbehavior or so forth. And so I believe that the foundation is the man and the woman coming together. I believe it's very important for a woman to nurture her children. And so with those foundational elements in a family, I believe that is crucial in this. If you choose to be married, that is, not everyone chooses to be married.
True.
And you have that choice, is because you know what's best for you to do life. And some people choose to do life by themselves, and that's totally up to them.
You said something I think we need to merge together. And that is, you don't have to be married to do life with someone else. Okay. Like corporations do not exist without their employees and their workers. So that corporation is actually successful because of the people that came together to make it work. In any business, that's so. So it's not that you have to actually have a covenant with a person, but if you want to do business and if you want to have help, so to say, in getting your dreams done, people are in the earth that can bridge you to a successful venture. So you don't have to be married. So a person that doesn't know how to manage a relationship, and they do better singularly living by themselves, but understanding that they're going to need people in order to just live. Okay, so that person doesn't have to get married. It's better for that person not to marry if they understand they're going to drive their mate crazy, if they're going to be selfish, if they want their opinion only to matter, then they don't need that marriage covenant. If they so choose, they say, I don't need the marriage covenant, but I do need people to help me traverse vision, dreams, desires, because that's how it works. You can't drive a car without a gas station. You're not going to be able to have food without a grocery store. So it just speaks for itself. We need people. And that's the way our society is built.
Yeah. I want to talk to the newlyweds right here. Why do you think marriage is so important? Why you guys think marriage is so important?
Oh,
This is
oh, I'm gonna. I think it's important because it shows the unity
of, but for me, it also shows of God and how He can use two others together. Saw that a lot in the churches and even at the wedding. God used both of us to bring to be at a joyous moment. I believe that marriage is important for us. One, there is a God, and two together, He can bring anybody together.
Yeah, you guys sound and going in and out. But Dad, I want to show you the uniqueness of their marriage. They are actually born on the same day. Birthdays on the same day.
Wow.
That's completely unique.
That is unique.
Their
That's
birthdays is the
That's
same
totally
day.
unique.
It's
Totally
unique.
unique.
But you know what, man, I can really throw down on that because we can have major parties together, major vacations and adventures. We can go together and buy each other a gift. Here, your gift. We can make a party out of that thing. That's special, you guys.
Yeah, they
And it's so funny because actually they did have a birthday together. We
Yeah,
went
they
to a
did have a
birthday
birthday
together, and that's when we found out it was their
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, because my
Yeah.
son didn't tell me.
He didn't tell us.
He didn't tell us. He didn't tell us
He did
that.
not
that
tell us.
you gotta pray for my son. I'm gonna stretch my hands out toward him right now.
When we got there, we found out it was Tasha's birthday also,
Yeah.
and I was like, wow.
That's so special.
That is amazing.
But listen, I want to get into some of these questions, Dad. I know we got to get you guys out of here by a certain time today, and I don't want to keep people all day. But we actually asked a lot of people questions. What do you want to see on this symposium? And people gave us at least 10 questions. And some of the questions I thought was like, really? But then I thought about it. It's very important because if it wasn't important, they would not have asked.
That's true.
So you want to ask the first one, honey? You want to put the first question out there?
The first question says, how do you prepare to be a spouse?
Yeah, how do you prepare to be a
That's
spouse?
really good.
So I think we ought to take Pastor Linda on this, and she's the one with the most experience, and her marital
Over 40 years.
yeah, their marital experience is unique.
Yes,
It's unique too,
Yes, it
as
is.
well. So Pastor Linda, when you came along and you met Dr. Hodge, like he already had kids.
You got to tell that story. You
Yeah,
gotta tell it.
Dr. Hodge talks about how she was like Tarzan swinging through his jungle on the vine. So talk to us about that.
Yes.
But at the same time, tell us, is there even a way to prepare to even be a spouse? Is there a way to do that?
That's a good one.
Yes, I believe that there is a way to prepare to be a spouse. Number one, I would say, I believe that it would start off really, first of all, loving yourself, because if you can't love yourself, you'll never be able to love anyone else. I also would say it's important to deal with yourself, to deal with any baggage that you may have before you enter into a relationship, because what's in you is going to spill into that new relationship, that marital covenant that you have. So I would say, love yourself, and then number two, deal with any baggage that you may have. I believe that also it's important to prepare yourself is through reading books. I know that's very practical, but reading books, also talking to other women that may have been married for different various phases, whether it's a newlywed or those that have been married, for a mid-range, and then those that's been married, for numerous years, maybe, over 35 years or so. I would get different perspectives. I would go and find out, well, what is some of the do's and the don'ts? What have you learned as far as, in being a wife? I believe that there is an anointing to be a wife and to steward and to steward that family. In being a wife and bringing your womanhood into the home. I believe that it's important that you know how to set an atmosphere in your home, an attitude as well, but an atmosphere of worship, an atmosphere of praise, an atmosphere of peace, not contention, not striving, not fussing, not arguing, not complaining all the time. And so I think all those things are so important to learn how to prepare yourself to do that. And so that's why it always goes back to how you are within yourself. I think someone said that it takes two people, to make a marriage.
Mhm.
And so if you're coming in, with, just living, maybe 30 or 40 or, or 80% of your potential, and the other person is too, I mean, then most likely both of you all are crippled in the sense of actually what you can bring to the table. So coming in whole, not divided, not crippled in any type of way. And we all know that we're always going to continue to be to working on some area of our life, because many times we got stuff that we got to work on that we don't even know we got to work on. And so you're always going to be forever, dealing with you in a sense. But I would say that's so important to deal with yourself. Another book that I would recommend too is How Not to Marry a Jerk. How not to
Wow, that's good, Mom. Who wrote that book?
I can't remember. I let somebody read it and I never got it back. And I think I asked Sherry. I'm glad I mentioned it because I forgot. I asked her to order that book, I think, for me. But yeah, it deals with the physical aspect. It deals with how to court, how do you enter into a relationship, the do's and the don'ts. It talks about the steps in a relationship, not jumping way over into an intimate time when you don't even get to know them intellectually, spiritually. And so that is an excellent book for those that are looking to be married, How Not to Marry a Jerk.
See, the reason we're laughing right now,
Oh, yeah.
is because our pastors, our apostle back in
Our first pastor.
first
That's
apostle,
how we met, actually.
Yeah,
in Revelation.
Yeah, he wrote a book called How to Steer Clear of a Bozo and Stay Away from the Circus.
Stay away from the circus.
Oh, wow.
Sure did. And that was amazing.
Yeah,
That's how we met, actually.
Yeah, and he in the book he gave a revelation. He said, no matter where you go, Bozo is always a clown. He's always a clown. Doesn't matter how many times he changes clothes.
Wow.
He's always a clown. He brought out. He's got the big shoes. He's got the makeup on. He's got the hair and the red nose. So no matter where Bozo goes, he's always a clown.
Yeah.
So listen, let's get to our sons and our daughter. And you guys just got married. How did you prepare to be a spouse? How did you guys prepare to be a spouse?
For me, well, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, son.
Okay. The thing I did was learn her.
Oh.
Your phone, you keep going in and out. Now he keeps going in and out. Say that again, son. He went out again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hear you now.
Okay. Well, just learning her. It's like here.
Yeah, he keeps going out. He keeps going in and out. Maybe you guys can go into a different. Maybe you guys can get a different setting or something like that where we can hear you very clearly. Because you guys went out. I thought because I heard you say you had to learn her. So what we'll do is you guys can just log off and then come back on. Okay. All right. And you're a better place. So y'all can just go ahead and log off. All right. So Dad, Mom was talking about. She said something I thought was very important. She said, you have to be anointed to be a spouse.
Oh, yes.
And I never thought of that until she just said that. Like, you have to be anointed to be a spouse. Now that ties in hand with what you just said a few moments ago, that everybody's not going to get married. Like, marriage is not for everybody.
Right.
And when I heard, I mean, what, where are you at on that? I mean, that's amazing that you have to be anointed to be a spouse.
Well, I think the majority of the world has gotten away from the foundation that God set for two people to enter into a marriage covenant. There's roles, responsibility, there's accountability. Yeah. I wrote down 3 things that people often ignore when they're getting married or looking at a spouse, looking to become partners in life. And there are key components that must be functional in a marriage from day one. And I'm gonna give you those 3. Marriage is sustained by faith. It is empowered by information. It matures through communication.
It's good. Really
wow.
Good.
So people think their attraction to each other, that magnetic outward attraction, is what's going to keep them together, and they and they get into the relationship and find all of these differences that they can't negotiate. And that's because they didn't use Christian dating as a discovery zone. Instead, they used it to try to become one with each other and to capture each other before the opportunity was lost. But Christian dating is about us learning if we're compatible and to put out our deal breakers. One of the major things that I see in people is silent expectations. They get married and they have these expectations that they didn't put on the table because it could have been a deal breaker.
Wow.
But they get married and then they're expecting their spouse to perform in a certain way, to do these certain things that is actually egregious to their heart and mind. And they never would have okay or said yes to getting into that relationship. So there's a lot of things that have to be discussed so you can agree how we're going to raise our children. How are we going to spend our money? Where are we going to live? What do we believe? Okay. All of that has to be talked about so that when you find these things are incompatible, especially the foundational things, you got to let each other go and say, hey, look, we can see that we're not for each other. We go on two different paths. It would be egregious for us to get together and just knock each other out on a daily basis and not be able to build. One thing that your title does, it makes me think about Jesus. It makes me think because marriage is compared to Christ and the church.
Yes.
Yes.
So when you look at that, you go to Jesus and what he said, upon this rock, I will build my church and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I'm going to give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. If we take that and extract revelation, we understand that marriage has to be built. Most people get into marriage as though it's some fantasy fulfilled. I got married. Like that's the answer to every question. When you get married, you're just starting to build.
Yes.
You're just starting to build. And it's going to take a growing process, maturation process. And people, when they get married with baggage. And that baggage actually came from when they were at home, trained how to respond to the opposite sex, trained how to defend themselves. Some people never grew up. So when you get married, it's a grown-up body with a kid inside, still throwing tantrums and going on. So that's why all these premarital things need to take place and these discussions need to take place, because a woman needs to know if you're a boy in a man's body.
Wow. That's a whole mouthful right there, Dad.
And he needs to for a spouse. She gonna spend everything he got. He can't keep nothing. They can't build nothing. So it's very important that conversation takes place.
Wow. I'm just looking at some of the comments that I see here. Somebody said, that's good. When you get married, you're just starting to build. And I believe that because I believe you're building a legacy. Yes. You're building a legacy that's going to cause other people's lives to be transformed and changed as well. All right. Honey, you want to get to the next question?
I'm sure. The next question is, how do you fight fear?
How do you fight fairly?
How do you fight fairly?
Okay. You gonna answer? Or you want me to answer?
I can start it. How do you fight fair? I think one way that you fight fair is that you don't come into a disagreement with preconceived ideas.
That's good.
I think you ought to say that again, Mom, for the people who are just getting married to understand that you don't come into this thing with a preconceived idea.
Yes. Yeah. You don't come into this this disagreement or whatever you're dealing with, because you're asked, I think the question, how do you fight fairly? Right. So if there is a conflict in a relationship, don't come in there with you know, with, you know, you got your sheet of paper, everything outlined, and this is the way it's going to go, and you have this preconceived idea how you want it to come out, especially if it's only in your favor. Remember, if both don't win, neither one of you win. So if you're the only winner in the conclusion, you both have failed. So coming into the disagreement or whatever you're dealing or a decision that you've got to make where you're both maybe not seeing eye to eye in that situation, come in there fair, being ready to listen. Not everybody is good listeners. They like to vocalize and share and talk, but they are not good listeners. And so, in other words, they hear what you're saying, but they don't hear what you're saying. They hear what you're saying, but they're thinking right while you're talking all at the same time. So very few people are very good listeners. They really don't know how to listen precisely. And so I would say to fight fairly is one way. Don't come in there with your preconceived ideas, how you think it's going to go, especially if it's all about you, and learning the art of listening. That's another way. Another way is to make sure that you don't come into the disagreement or to the fight, whatever you want to call it, with you know, the you know, with the I syndrome. Like, oh, I don't feel like, you know, I don't feel this or I don't feel that. You can say now, I you know, that there I do feel such and such a way, but let me know, what is your take on that? What is your take on that? Maybe I'm feeling something that I shouldn't feel or something like that, but not precisely is because the other person can have a whole different viewpoint, right?
I think I'm gonna just make a little tweak that her and I always talk about this, and she just tweaked it a little bit. Mm-hmm. So don't go into the argument pointing your finger and saying you.
Right.
That's what she meant.
Yeah.
You make me feel this way. Yeah. Because of you, this happened, and you did this. We need you to draw back the finger and stop saying the word you. Say, I feel like.
Take a responsibility.
Yeah, I feel like. So now, she made some important points, and she made a point that I was going to make, and that's listen to understand, not to give an answer.
Wait, you got to elaborate on that one. You got to elaborate on that. You can't throw that out there like that and then run. You can't drop the mic on there.
Let me restate. When you're in an argument, an issue, a problem, you have to come to agreement. Marriage is about the agreement moment. It's not about your singularity and you being right. So when you got to look at these as opportunities to grow. That's what you got to look at your disagreement and your argument, your fight about. These are opportunities to grow. This is where we do not agree. This is where we're out of order. So in order for us to bring this into order, we have to have the same mindset that we're in a marriage. Most people stay single while being in covenant.
Wow.
That doesn't work. You can't do that. You have to have a covenant mindset in order to prosper the relationship. So it's about the marriage, not about me individually. So I have to come into the table. I have to sit down at the table, listening to understand and not give an answer. Most people block their ears while you're talking because they have their answer ready. They're boiling to respond to what you said. They got an answer they want to get to you, and they misunderstood you. Yeah. So they didn't listen to understand. And that's why a lot of communication has a deficit, because your marriage is built on communication, sex, and money. 3 major areas which will destroy every marriage if they're not managed by the couple in an appropriate way and in an intelligent way. So that communication, and this is what I notice so much. When people get married, that silent expectation is you're going to understand my language. When in actuality, your language is on different playing fields because you came from different backgrounds. And in your house, what you're saying meant one thing, but in her house, what you're saying meant another thing. Mm-hmm. So you got to take time to know each other, learn each other, learn those communication skills. That's what dating is about. If you can get past the major parts and get now into what do you mean by that? And your conversation and the content is important to you understanding each other. So you have to know that just because your wife speaks a certain language does not mean she's against you. Listen to what she's saying. Listen to what he's saying. Listen to understand, not to give an answer.
Hey, my son and my daughter are back now. Hopefully, they're that we can hear them good. That the area that they're in is saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. but
Always.
since you guys are newlyweds, I don't know if y'all had any challenges or any issues at this moment. But we're talking about how to fight fairly. So I know. Listen. The one thing I can say about my son Curtis is he's a good man. I don't always say that. I throw that out there loosely with a lot of men. My son's a good man. He ain't never given us any trouble, any problems. Good man, good heart. He says he can cook a little bit, but
He can.
how do you guys deal with that? How do you guys deal with that? See Curtis stuck.
We're talking about
How do you
I was gonna say, can you hear us?
Yeah, we hear
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
you. Yeah, we hear you guys.
Well, I mean, I for me, I just tell the truth. I don't come in to try to hurt feelings or anything like that. I just have to tell the truth. What the issue is, where you can move on and grow from it.
Yeah, you your daddy's son, boy. I'll tell you.
For me, I'm still learning how to. I was single for a very long time, so for me, what I said went. I took care of myself. I paid my bills. I did that for a very long time. So for me, when it comes to disagreements, I'm still learning how to listen. Still learning how to listen to hear and to not to have a reaction. So I'm still learning how to, try to listen to what he's saying and not have a rebuttal necessarily, but really just listen to what he's saying. In some situations, if I would have that would have solved the whole issue. But me being a woman who wants to say what she needs to, in some situations, I cause myself more harm and cause us more harm than we need. Which that's my whole truth. Because I don't need to say nothing. Listen and take heed to what's being stated. So in some situations, it's still hard for me. But I'm learning. But it's also something that I'm working towards constantly.
Yeah. What I know of you is that you're a take charge person.
Yes.
And the reality is my son needed that person in his life, a take charge individual. You understand? Like my son does what he's supposed to do, but he needed that strong person that takes charge. He needed that. I think that you're developing and you're growing. The first thing that you did was you realized that I need to listen. You know what I'm saying? So you realize that. Most people don't realize that. It takes them years before they realize that. So you said, if I could have done this better, this wouldn't have never happened. I would suggest to you, just as your father today, I would suggest to you that you get a part of some of these women's groups that would just help you personally. Same thing with Curtis, get a part of some of these men groups. These things will help you. And I'm telling you, my wife is doing a women's group right now where she's talking about all men are not dogs.
And there are good men out there.
There are good men out there. You understand? Pastor Linda has a women's group that she does,
yes.
I want to say almost daily, right?
Yes,
21 days.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, these things will help you. You're in the building stage, you're building legacy. And I'm telling you, you guys are doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Yes. You're really doing a great job. I'm proud of you guys. I really am. I'm really proud of you. So listen, we are up against it right now, so we got to breeze through a lot of these questions because there's
I actually wanted to go over a couple.
You want to
of
go over
points.
some stuff? You
Yes.
you can cute this morning.
Thank you. I want to go over a couple of points on fighting fair that I wrote these down. First thing I want to say is don't bring up others' family members. That means don't talk about their mother. That's not fighting fair. Another thing is don't interrupt your spouse while they're talking, listening, don't interrupt your spouse while they're talking. That is a big thing. And I learned that from us having dialogue and having some disagreements every now and then. That when I'm talking, you sit there and you listen. When you're talking, I'm listening.
I'm hypnotized at this moment.
Don't start.
I'm looking at
the next thing that is never tell your spouse you didn't make them feel that way. That is so important. Never tell your spouse you did not make them feel that way.
Yeah.
You guys can write this down. The next thing is don't bring up each other's secrets to win an argument. Don't bring up each other's secrets to win an argument. The next one is don't bring up each other's past to win an argument.
Yeah, that's good.
The next one is don't bring up each other's shortcomings to win an argument.
Yeah.
Don't call each other out of their names because, in heated times, we don't do that. But I'm just saying we've counseled people that have done that. And then never embarrass one another. Never embarrass one another. And don't use your kids to prove your point. There's other ones, but I'm just saying these are some of them as far as fighting fairly that you guys need to take into consideration.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. There are people who got their comments on the screen here. And I think the comments are really good.
One more. Don't talk about your spouse in a negative way. That is not fighting fair. And that's talking about your spouse to your friends, to your families. None of that is fighting fair.
Yeah. One of the things that we don't do in our home, Dad, is we don't argue about money.
Not at all.
We don't argue about money. We don't argue about a seed that's being sown.
Because we do it as a family.
Yeah.
We do it together as one.
Yeah, we don't argue about stuff like that. If I say, honey, I'm thinking about sowing $1,000 seed tonight. What do you think? There's no argument about that. No, we're not going to do that. We don't argue about
Not
that.
at all.
We're at a place in our relationship where my wife does not deprive me of intimacy, even if she's angry with me.
That's true, Mom. That's true. Even when he make me mad, Mom. Even when he make me mad, I'll be like, you know what? It's still my husband at the end of the day. And I've heard stories where women have said, I don't give my husband anything when he's mad, when I'm mad. That's not good. That's not good because we can't withhold from our husbands. That's one thing I've never done.
Say that again. You say it on the rooftop.
I said that's one thing I've never done. Oh, you are showing out today. Yeah, you're gonna have to get him, okay? Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. By the way, that's too early today. We gotta get to that later on.
Wow. We're gonna talk about this off the screen, okay? You want to get to the next question? Can we talk about Christian dating?
Yeah, Christian dating. That was one of the questions that was posed to us in one of our meetings.
Yes.
About talking about Christian dating.
Christian
I know
dating.
you wrote a book on that.
Yes.
So can you guys elaborate just a little bit about the Christian dating?
Christian dating.
Apostle Fred and Pastor Linda, can y'all do that?
Christian dating. What was the question on it? It was let's see.
Just talk about Christian
Just talk
dating.
about it.
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
Let's talk about Christian dating.
I think I made some comments on it being a format for discovery and not for hookup and intimacy.
Yeah. I think it's I think that when you come together, I think you try to talk about the expectations. I think that's kind of mainly the main thing that you may need to be discussed when you come together for Christian dating.
Yeah.
What is your expectation? Are you dating to be married? Or are you dating just to have fun because you're just kind of bored in life? Why are you dating? Because the woman may say, well, I'm dating because I am looking for my potential husband. And the man he may say, well, I'm just dating, because I want to have some fun. So you need to determine what is the reason why you're dating. What are you expecting in the dating as you move forward through the dating process and you get to know each other and you come together closer and you may feel that there may be a spark or it may not be a spark. And so what is the one thing that would be the one thing that I would make mention is what is your expectation in dating? And then number two is another thing as far as communication. So I would say learning, knowing if you can communicate with this person. I think that's so important because if one person come in and they're very defensive or they're very negative, most likely, or they had a bad relationship, with their mom, or she had a bad relationship with her dad, or whatever. And not that it cannot work, but that you're dealing with a little bit more things that you may have to kind of weed through in your relationship. So those are the things that I would say. What are we expecting? Can we communicate? Are you a communicator? Or are you an introvert? And if you are an introvert, what is that going to look like for us? Or if you're an extrovert, that can be hard too, because you could just be babbling and talking and not listening. And then the last one was, what was that last one that I said? I talked about to communicate. It was one more that I mentioned. I can't remember that last one that I mentioned. So whether we're compatible, and then what are we expecting in our relationship?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You started off with, I think you forgot this. You started off with dating for a purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what the expectation.
Yeah. If you don't have
That's
a purpose in mind, if you don't have a goal, then you really don't have a premise of why you're doing this.
Mhm.
You're just and most people put on their best behavior
Yeah.
before marriage when they're dating.
Yeah. When they're dating.
They're disguised and they're deceptive, and they're not letting you see who they really are. And you see these movies all the time where women or men, they get into a relationship to find out the person they got into a relationship with is obsessive and like to control and hostile when they lose control, or it looks like control is threatened. So then they get to where they get violent or forceful or threatening. So you have to have a purpose and tell that person up front what that purpose is. Now, my purpose is to discover if we're compatible for a marriage covenant, that we can partner together for life, that we can do life together. There's not going to be any intimacy. There's not going to be, any exchange of money. I'm not going to be buying you cars and giving you credit cards and letting you live in my crib. That's not going to happen. Discover who you are. In fact, I think dating needs to get very bold. I think you need to ask for a credit report.
Oh yes.
With a date on it. It needs to be up to date, not something. Yeah, your resume is not your integrity, it's just your history. So you need to because people are fraudulent and they marry people to destroy and rob them and then move on to the next person.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And especially the day and time we live in now. In this digital age, information age, man, there's all kind of elaborate schemes. So it's very important that you understand why you're dating.
Mm-hmm.
What's the purpose of dating? If your dating is just to go out and have a great time, it's really not dating.
Mm-hmm.
Dating means that I'm going to put aside a moment in time where I'm not considering anybody else, but we're going to talk and discuss if we can have a life together. That's going to take more than one time.
Yeah, and some people probably would consider that old fogey, outdated, irrelevant, because nowadays people are dating 5 and 6 people at one time.
Yeah.
I mean, they have different, you got the dating sites, and you hear people all the time say, well, you need to date at, all these people, that way you'll know, and you can just weed them out. Right. But I don't think that is I don't think that's healthy, and I don't think it's biblical. All your emotions involved, you're confused. I mean, just think about it, and I look at The Bachelor, and I kind of just love looking at The Bachelor, Bachelorette when he comes on. But usually when those people end that relationship, usually They are devastated.
Yeah.
And even if they think they're gonna get married and they propose and it don't work out, they don't been on national TV. Behind the scenes, they can't get it together. And so what they done dated all these folks, they
Kissing them.
have had enough time to really learn one person.
Right.
But you know, that's just the way
That's the way of the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's evil, and it's deceptive, and it's hurtful.
it's very hurtful for them.
You always see them coming out hurt. Everybody on the show gets hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you even prepare to have a sane dating experience when you've been on a show like that and you'd have been whatever?
What you're saying is so true, Dad. And you know, a lot of people now they're before they're dating, even before they're dating, they're going and they're checking their background. They're looking at their social media page, seeing what they're all about, who they've dated in the past.
Yeah.
You know, they're looking at all these. So, because we didn't have that when we were dating, we didn't have social media. So you know, the business wasn't put out there. But now everybody's business is put on social media. So you can pretty much know a person by going to their Facebook page, going to their YouTube, going to their Instagram, you know, and now they're hiring people to investigate them to see if they're really who they say they are, because they don't want to get into this relationship and be hurt.
I agree.
Because you're gonna live the rest of your life with the person. At least you're expecting to live the rest of your life with this person. So you need to know as much information to make the quality decision.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to say, God, why did you do this to me?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to look at your own choices, that you didn't do your due diligence. You trusted this person's verbiage and their presentation. You did not investigate. You did not ask the right questions. So you made a choice of an irrelevant information. So it's so important that we know the person. You have to have a person-to-person, face-to-face encounter, so that, because the eyes are the window of the soul. Now, some people have got deception down to a science, where they know all the gestures, they know how to present themselves to deceive you. Most people have not. You can tell a liar just by looking in his eyes and looking at the gestures on their faces.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not compliable. It's not the way God made the human spirit and the soul to cooperate with each other to conversate.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's so good. You know, just hearing what you just said, I think it's much harder for millennials to date, because you know they're so hooked on material things now. You see on social media all this bling, everybody want the bag and all this kind of stuff. I mean, what do you say to those young people? Like, we have young kids now that are here to date. They want to date in another couple of years. What do you say to those millennials that are on right now about dating? Because it's so different now. It's so different. Everybody wants the bag. Everybody want to be independent. They want to, they want to have their own money. They're not even thinking about, putting their money together with a man. He got her own money. She got her own money. That's not of God, because it's not being on one page.
I was just thinking, I don't really know the answer, I guess, for the younger people. I guess it would apply the same. Would you say? Basically, I would think you would. I mean, y'all are on Instagram and TikTok and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I would just check and see what they all about. I would think also, just a practical standpoint, I mean, you need to get you need to find out from their friends what do you think about them? Ask your classmates. If you have a relationship, with their parents, I would talk to their parents.
Right.
I mean, that was the only thing that I could think of. I would think they would need to do their homework just like an adult would do. When you say?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But here's a key issue, I think, with millennial type thinking, is that you have to know your own value and you have to know what you value.
Yes.
When you know your own value, you won't let anybody else reduce you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When you know what you believe and what you value, you know who's in agreement and who's not.
Yeah.
And a lot of young kids do not have their faith components down yet. They don't actually know what they believe.
Yeah.
They're easily swayed from one corner of the world to the next. when they have to be substantiated in some sort of faith that grounds them, that says this person is not a faith. This is not a good person for me to know.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would think they have to know their own value, and that comes from parents and training them up in the way they should go. Then they have to know what they value. Do you value integrity? Or you think the lying schemer is cute? Do
Yeah.
you value work and ethics? Or do you think it's, funny to be living off your grandparents? So it's values.
Wow.
I think that would help the millennials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we're really up against it, we're gonna go to one of these questions right here that I think is very important. And the question is, how do I know if I'm pleasing my spouse? That was one of the questions that was asked. How do I know if I'm pleasing my spouse?
Well, if you're not pleased.
If you're not pleased, how do you know if you're pleasing them, and how do you know if you're not pleasing them?
Right.
Let's talk to the newlyweds really quickly and see where they are.
Oh, look at the look on Tasha's face. Okay.
But for me, I
think
ask
you better
a
start
lot of
first.
questions. Can you hear?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, yeah. For me, I ask a lot of questions. I just get to know them. Continue to learn, and don't have any issues. How about you?
I love you, son, man.
I know for me, in some situations, I say I'm not Jesus, so I can't read your mind. So I'm going to ask questions, and I think we have that in common. We do ask one another a lot of questions. So for me, the way that I know that he's pleased is sometimes in his attitude. I can know if something is irritating him by the way he's walking around the house. So for me, it's our thing is we will literally ask one another 50 times a day, you good? And in some situations, the you good can ask multiple questions. But for us, I know we text one another throughout the day, just checking on each other, making sure everything is good. But that's the way that I know if something is bothering him or if he is not pleased with something. Simply asking the question, are you okay?
Wow. Now I think that's good. That's good. Dr. Hodge, Pastor, you guys want to jump in there, or you want us to get to the next question?
What's the next one? She said it perfectly. That's one of the three that I mentioned: communication, sex, and money. Takes communication, good communication for all three. A lot of couples, they have silent expectations and they don't communicate.
Yeah.
So it's this imbalance, and they're not able to come into agreement or work out a situation. I wrote some things about communication. Communication is critical for maturation in the relationship. Since we're building a relationship, we have to master the element of communication. But so many relationships are plagued by ignorance, immaturity, and inequality. So unless a communication system is developed to where we can understand one another, we'll stay at a disadvantage. So that's why we have to talk, and then we have to understand each other's language, so that we're not misunderstanding and misappropriating what's being presented.
I think that's really good, Dad. I think that's really good. You're helping a lot of people on here. You, Tasha, you're in your transparency. You are helping a lot of women on here your age. They're actually making a comment about it.
Yes.
That they appreciate your transparency. That you're helping a lot of them. We got to get to the next one. Where we at? Number 6. Yes.
This one is for Mom. Financial expectations and responsibilities in a marriage. Financial expectations and responsibilities in a marriage.
How important is that?
How important is that?
Okay. I think once again, they do have to be discussed, because I believe, that your finances is a pretty it's a basic of everything that you go to do in your marriage. So I think that that's so important because you have to because you got to navigate through life together, and everything takes money to do that. It takes money and discipline to do that. So I think it's good to and of course he always talk about having a meeting, a family meeting, and just really discussing and kind of just really and we do that, and we talk about that. We talk about, what
Where
we're
we're
going to
going.
tackle, where we're going to go. And so I think the lines of communication need to be open. I have heard of people, though, that have been in a relationship where the wife didn't know how much money that the husband made for years and years and years. And so he went into the marriage apparently thinking that he was single and acting as a single man. So I think collaboration is so important in the area of finances. I think it needs to be discussed. I think it needs to find out what is priority to you, what's priority to me, and how can we bring these priorities together and make them one priority that's best for the family. So I would say communication and finances is ultimately important because that's one of the things,
It's
right?
one of the three.
Sex, money, and finances.
Mhm.
So they go hand in hand. I don't think there's
Yes.
one that leaves out the other. Really, I think they're all so important.
So important.
Yeah,
Communication, sex,
sex
and
and money. Yeah, so we got to talk about it. We got to talk about that budget.
right.
Got to talk about how we gonna spend that money. Got to talk about them credit cards.
Yep.
If you got credit cards, we got to talk about, okay, so when are we gonna stop
And-
using credit cards?
And you have to talk about it in view of your legacy.
Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish? What are
Right.
you trying to build as a marriage couple?
Right.
And if that is, well, I want a great future and quality of life. I want to live in a certain neighborhood. I want to be an owner, not a renter. Okay, that is financially driven. So
Right.
we have to be financially literate so that we can navigate that journey together. And if we're going to do it together, we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Got to
That's
be
really good. That's really good. That's really good. That's really good. I think we're helping a lot of people with these questions. You want to get to the next one, honey?
Because I think you should talk about blended families.
Me?
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
We're gonna put you in this one now. You need to talk about blended families since we do have 9.
we got 10.
10. We got 10.
10.
Yes.
Yeah, when they said Papa was a Rolling Stone, where he laid his hat with his home, they wrote it about me.
Yes. Blended family. Go ahead.
For me, when my wife married me, that's why I laugh so much when Dr. Oz be talking about how Pastor Linda came through and picked him up. When my wife first met me, I already had 7 kids already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already had 7 kids already. I was already out there in the world. I was doing my thing. You know what I mean?
Yes,
but
you
I wasn't a good. So I was out there, and I did not have. I wasn't a good father to my children. I was just everywhere. I had broken promises. You name it. I just was not on point with the things I needed to be on point with, and so because of that. When I finally got married to my wife, because she's my second marriage. So when I got married to her, it was trying to blend families together. It's challenging. We're still dealing with the challenge today. But one of the things that we did was we made a decision that we would not say that we had stepchildren. That we say we're not going to say that.
Never.
2 children that she had, they are my children. There ain't no step to that. The children that I had, she accepted them as hers.
Yes.
There's no step to that.
That's right.
So our mentality was we're going to treat the children as if we treated the way we treat our own children.
Yes.
Now it's challenging to us. It has been challenging to us. There's been some things that have been said that's been hurtful, that's been disrespectful, but we still love them anyway.
Yeah, we
And
still show the love of God.
we still show the
regardless
love of
what
God.
they say, like
Yeah.
they said, words do hurt.
Yeah. So we we're still working on the blended family. We're
Yes.
still working on bringing it together. And the challenge that I'm finding, Dad, is being a husband, being a father, being a pastor, and then having spiritual children. You understand? I'm that's hard for me at this moment. I cannot lie and say that that's easy. It's very hard for me. And what I noticed in even in ministry, God has given me nothing but spiritual daughters. He's not giving me any sons, just all spiritual daughters.
Yes.
And so it's completely different for me. So that's part of the reason why I watch everything that you do, because I'm trying to learn how to do what I'm doing,
How to navigate.
how to navigate. My wife is saying to me, Jonathan, we haven't had date night. And I'm sitting here like, I don't even know if I can make it to the shower.
Yes.
You know, so I'm still learning. You understand? I'm still learning. And so we're trying, you know, we're still working on bringing the family together. We do certain things.
We used to do certain things with the kids once a month. We haven't done that in a while because of other things that have transpired. But we used to have date night at least once a week. And
Yeah, but I mean, I'm still working on it. I can't tell anybody that, hey, I got it together. I don't have it together. I'm still working on it. I'm still doing the best that I can. And it's a challenge, but you could speak to that as well. Because like you said, Pastor Linda was like Tarzan on the vine.
help dad, help.
You blended families are Plan B.
Wow, explain. Elaborate on that one, Dad.
Whoa.
Plan A was a man and a woman get together and live together forever until they go home to be with the Lord.
Yes.
They had problems and they divided and went their separate ways, which now put the children in a dilemma, which they didn't think about when they was in their feelings, and they separated and caused children now to have certain concepts and ideas about what just took place. Most children blame themselves. That's where the difficulty comes in after the fact. So blended families are a result of Plan A going wrong, right? And it's okay to have a Plan B. God had a Plan B.
Yes.
Jesus was Plan B. He
Yes.
was not Plan A. Plan A was Adam. That went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So God had to make a provision to bring his purpose, his plan back to originality. And that's why he sent Christ. So now we're into Plan B. So we have to work with the hand we've been dealt.
Yes.
Right? And now we should have learned from what happened in the first Plan A. What went wrong? Was I too demonstrative? Was I neglectful? The questions have to be asked if we're going to begin to work on ourselves so that we can make this go around the last go around and not go to a Plan C. So here we are communicating with our children, loving our children, even though they may have some resentment or have some bitterness because Plan A didn't work and I wasn't with their mother anymore. So now they're all upset with me, may not want to talk with me. Okay, these are life's anomalies that all of us have to deal with, and I deal with it according to scripture.
Mm-hmm.
I can't deal with it according to your feelings. I can sympathize with your feelings, but I have to deal with it according to scripture. If God give me another chance at having a beautiful wife, I'm going to do the best I can to live forever with that wife. And I'm going to treat you with respect. But if you don't want to engage with me, I won't make you.
Yeah.
But I want to
That's where I'm
offer.
at right now, Dad. That's where I'm at right now. I hate the fact that I did those things. I can't say they were mistakes because I intentionally did what I did. You understand? So I hate that I didn't do that. Let me tell you one of the things that really hurt me a number of years ago, and it still bothers me even to this day. And I don't really share this, but it does. My son Curtis came to our church in Los Angeles one day, and he had a shirt tie, but he couldn't tie his tie. And it hurt me really badly because I'm looking at my son like, I never taught him how to tie a tie. Like that bothered me. It really bothered me that here you are, you're so busy doing everything else, you're everywhere else. You never spent enough time with him to be able to help him tie his tie. Like that's crazy. You should have never done that. And so at that point, when I saw that, I'm already married to my wife at this time, but I'm saying that I ain't gonna make this mistake again. I'm gonna do the best that I can. And even to this day, sometimes I think about that. Like, man, bro, you didn't even teach him how to tie his tie. Like, that's crazy. You know, and I have to battle that. I have to really battle that because I knew that I dropped the ball. I knew I dropped the ball. But the thing that I can say concerning him is I don't think he's ever held anything like this against me. You know, we talk and I think he just brushes things to the side or whatever. I don't know. He's never said to me like he has an issue with that. You know what I mean? And I've always been grateful that that's been his stance with me. I've always been grateful for that. I don't think I've ever said that to him about the tie situation. I don't think I've ever said that to him.
I think you taught my tie at the wedding, though.
Yeah, see, I had another opportunity. Yeah, I had another opportunity. You see,
Yes, you did.
We got to make a teaching point out of what just happened.
Okay.
Because most human beings, especially men, hold themselves accountable even after forgiveness takes place.
Yeah.
Even after adjustment takes place. We will adjust our lives to go with God. You stop doing all that stuff. You're going with God. You're a man of God. You're being the example you need to be, but yet you're holding yourself accountable for not for I don't have a better word, your dumb days.
Yeah, that's the right word to use.
Your dumb days. And you're trying to make up for them, which needs to be dispensed with. Your focus now is being the best you can be. And look how it came around. It circled around to give you another opportunity to show your son how much you cared. And the thing you missed out on, God gave you another opportunity to step up on. So it's this lesson right here should go out to the masses because we need to forgive ourselves and then look for the opportunity that will present itself for us to be an example in front of that child and for us to shower love on that child and to make a new beginning with that child. But the child got to be willing to embrace that as well. And so most blended families, they do good, the husband and wife, but it's the children.
Yeah.
You're correct.
To navigate.
Dad, can we jump into this lesson? We got to let you guys get out of here. I know you guys got a place you got to be in a short period of time. So I think we got it's basically 3 questions left, but I think we need to tackle this one. If we don't get a chance to get to the rest of them, I think we're okay. What you say?
It all depends on Dad and the time that he has.
Well, they told me he got to be out here at 11:45. That's what I was told.
Okay, so we have 2 minutes.
Yeah. So can we ask this last question and Tasha, you guys can chime in, but since Dad and them got to go here pretty soon, I want to jump in here with this one. Intimacy in the relationship. How
I knew he was going to talk about
that's
that.
the next one on the list.
I knew that.
That's the next one on the list.
I knew you was going to go to that one. Why did I know that?
Because the next 2 questions after that is spouses and their single friends, and then social media and marriage. He already covered social media and marriage. Come on now, give me.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I see what I have to deal with.
Okay.
So intimacy in a relationship, how important is that?
You want to go first?
Yes, I believe that's important because that's part of the marriage covenant when you come together. I mean, that's one of the things that's in your expectation of a marriage or relationship. That's one of the you know, the ice cream
joys of life.
Right. That's the dessert.
Hey, yeah, even there said it's a joy of life.
I
want to raise my hand.
Yeah. So we want those joys and we want those desserts, right? So
Yes.
So I believe that is really important in a relationship. I believe that, you know, and of course all the physical, I believe all the benefits that come with it as well when you come together. How it helps your body, I heard, and you know, maybe release certain things in your body, tension and all of that. So it does have some physical benefits to it as well. And it's such a and it's not just, and I believe that it's not just a spiritual, not just a physical thing, but it's a spiritual thing as well. When you come together, And so I would say that that's just important. That's just one of the things: sex, money, and
Communication.
communication. So that's right up there with all three of them. I don't think there's one above the other. They all go across, all across the board. So that's my take on the importance of intimacy, and he'll probably come from a different perspective.
Well, I mean, we can take that subject alone and have a full seminar on intimacy in marriage.
Yeah.
When we look at how God created us and put us together, the chemistry, how He engineered our chemistry, it is so embedded into who we are to connect with each other on those levels. We connect with our minds. We connect with our physical bodies. It touches our emotions.
Yeah.
It releases. Isn't it important how God created intimacy to relieve stress and pressure from the body, also from the soul? Because when we
stressing right now,
when we come together in intimacy, whatever was wrong is no longer wrong.
Right.
It melts away. It's a point of forgiveness. That intimacy corrects a whole lot of things that are emotionally felt.
Yeah.
And it satisfies cravings that are inside the physical man and the soul man. Soul man is needing the touch, needing the interaction, needing the emotional satisfaction. That soul man, he's hungry. So we're thinking physical, but more in the non-physical is happening as well. And we come out whole, sound, in love with our mates, in agreement, wanting to do things. When a man has sexual intercourse, that's mostly his love language. He comes out ready to give his wife the world. He wants to do whatever he can to make her happy because he happy. Every master making him happy.
Yes.
They would have
like speaking in tongues.
But you can see how the emotions of the man, the emotion of the woman all come to play. When she gets emotional, she doesn't want to have intercourse. And then that makes him more uptight. And then that makes the situation more egregious. They should come up with the answer. If we're mad, let's go to bed.
Ooh, that's a good solution, Dad. That's a good solution.
we're laughing, Dad. We're laughing because when I first proposed to my wife, right? Then we went to our pastor and I said, sir, I believe I found the woman that I want to marry and spend the rest of my life with. And so he says to me, okay. So he set up a counseling session with us.
Oh,
and so we had to go 6 months of counseling session with him, nonstop, else he wasn't going to marry us. Like, really? I mean, he tackled everything. The number one question, the number one thing he brought out to us was sexual intimacy.
Yep.
He told us to have sexual intimacy all the time, often. And he said often. He said often because what it'll do is it cause you to your heart will connect with one another. You'll learn each other. You're worshiping God in the process, but it'll keep you guys from acting a fool or fighting with each other and stuff like that. And so when you said, let's just go to bed, I just thought about that's what he said. Oh my God. So come on, newlyweds, talk to us. Y'all newlyweds now. Ours are married now.
That's you.
It's not on me. It's on you too.
But if y'all haven't noticed, I'm not the talker in the marriage. That's her. So yeah, this is what you're gonna get.
Am crazy? Well, listen.
So we're gonna talk after this.
Come on, Tasha, really quickly.
I know for me, I'm still learning intimacy. Because I was one of the ones who saved myself for marriage. And in saving myself for marriage, everybody says wait till you get married, but once you get married, what else? Like people, expect you to be, this, oh, I know what I'm doing. No, I don't. No one has, in layman's terms, ain't nobody prepared me for this. So I'm still learning. I'm still learning myself. Like I'm still learning myself in this part of being in a committed relationship. So in some aspects, I'm learning myself in addition to learning him, in addition to learning we. So intimacy, good. I can say that I'm doing a little better. We do have conversations, but I do know that it's not going to be like a, oh, we're getting to the point where it's a little more often, but I know that most of the time it's me because there are some insecurities I'm still working through. There are some mental things that I have to work through. And he is helping me as being my mate. He is helping me to work through those things. So, we get a little more intimate and it's all right. But I do know that for those who have waited, who decided to be, abstinent until they get married, there are some portions of the marriage where sometimes it's going to be like, now, Jesus, you done told me to wait. But now you got to teach me how to, so that we can be intimate and it's not weird. But I also will say, as you have said numerous of times, communication is key because within intimacy, you got to communicate.
Yeah.
You have to say like, great. And you got to say, no, that ain't it. Yeah. So you have to, I'm learning that intimacy is okay. Because I know within, the Christian realm, we have been told you got to wait. And in some aspects, you can't talk about certain things.
Bye-bye, you guys.
All right. So listen, we know you guys got to go. But what we're going to do, but what we're going to do is we're going to close this out right now anyway. And I do appreciate everybody being on. Tasha, I want to say thank you so much. You really don't know how many women that you are helping right now. Some of them are not going to come out and say some of the things that you have said.
Yes.
But you have really helped a lot of people today, and I'm so appreciative of you. People are on here, they're saying, I'm going to put some of the comments on the screen. I hope you can see that. People are really loving you.
Yeah.
They're really loving you. And and I want to say to my son, I'm proud of you, son. I'm really proud of you for what you've done, because not a lot of men would have done what you did. And I think you're a rare breed, but I think you're a really great man. Oh, yes. And Tasha, the truth of the matter is, this is the place that you really want to be, is where you are learning one another. Most people come into the relationship with other people's thoughts in their head, what they did with this person, that person, and that stuff doesn't always work. And so I'm telling you that I'm proud of you guys. I appreciate you guys for everything and being on here. So you're helping a lot of people. You are really helping a lot of people. You are helping a lot of people here today. And
I just want to say, Tasha, as time goes on, you'll learn more about what Curtis liked as a wife, what he likes and what he doesn't like. And then you guys will grow together. I mean, it's a process. Marriage is a communication, but it's also a process. Yeah. It's a daily walk with God being number one in your life. And so I just want to say that, sometimes that might not happen overnight, but if you guys communicate and say, okay, well, this is how I like things done. This is how I like for you to look. This is what I want you to put on. You can suggest things. I mean, it all takes communication. And it's definitely going to work for the good of God. God is going to get the glory. But you guys are getting to know each other. It's a process. Yeah,
and you guys are building legacy. This is the part of marriage. You're building a relationship.
Exactly.
You don't have to pull off stuff.
Right.
That people have from previous relationships.
Exactly.
You don't have to pull that off. So what you guys are learning and exploring together, and I think that's tremendous.
And we talked about being authentically you.
Yeah.
Just be yourself.
Be yourself.
Curtis is learning you. You already know who he is as a man.
Mhm.
He already knows who you are as a man. You guys have dated for a while.
Yeah.
And just be yourself. Be free. I mean, you guys are married.
Yeah.
You know, just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere. If he waited all this time to get married to you, going nowhere. So he
Nah, he ain't going nowhere.
Enjoy
I'm
your
not
wife,
going
enjoy
nowhere.
your husband.
Yeah, you guys are going to learn more.
Yes.
And it's going to be amazing. So I'm proud of you guys. Listen, to all the internet audience, thank y'all so much
Yes, thank you guys
for being
so
on
much
today.
for joining us.
We really do appreciate you guys for being on today.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, our pastors had to go. We were intending to be out of here by that time anyway.
Yes.
But you know, sometimes you have these questions, they just go on and on and on.
Oh, yeah.
And so we do appreciate you guys for being on today. Thank you so much. And
Thank
maybe we'll get
you.
into this again, maybe before the year is out,
Yes.
to be able to help other people. But again, Natasha, Curtis, proud of you guys. We love y'all.
We love
All
you
right?
guys. Thank you guys for being on
All
today.
right. So let us pray.
Thank you.
All right. Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you
Yes, God.
for just blessing your people today.
Yes.
I thank you for the speakers that you had on here today. And I pray, God, that nothing that was spoken today will fall on deaf ears, but will fall into the good grounds of our heart, that we might produce a fruit that is pleasing in your sight.
Yes, God.
And so, Lord, I thank you right now, God, that you're pouring back into our speakers today,
Yes.
and you're adding to their lives in Jesus'
In
name.
Jesus' name.
Amen and amen.
Amen.
All right. So people said, thank you for this.
They said it was so good.
Yeah,
so that's
some people said this is
awesome.
awesome.
Yes.
Other people are saying he's right there. Other people are saying thank you so much for being on. I'm telling you, you guys did a tremendous job, and we're proud of you guys for that. All right. So hey, we are out of here. We love you guys,
Love you
and
guys.
we will see y'all again tomorrow. All right. Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow is
Sunday. Yeah, tomorrow
Yes.
morning, and 9
Y'all be in
a.m.
the house tomorrow. We're gonna have an amazing service.
Yeah, 9 a.m. in Inglewood, California, 12:30 p.m. in Lancaster.
Yes.
It's gonna be amazing. All right, gotta go. Love y'all. Be blessed.
Bye, you guys.